Welcome to Project 35 Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Charity C. Campbell, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about how to maintain your goals while traveling, and then also finding your source of motivation, even in the midst of discouragement. So, like we used to say old school style, don't touch that dial because Project 35 Podcast is up next. Okay, everybody. So thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Project 35 Podcast. And to all the new subscribers, thank you so much. You guys have put such a huge smile on my face. You know, this is something that is fairly brand new. This is only the second week. And I am really looking forward to spending the next 50 weeks with you. This is a 1-year endeavor. So I'm looking forward to spending the next 50 weeks with you as we transform together. I feel like that this transformation is not just for myself, but it is definitely reaching and motivating other people, which I did not originally intend for it to do. I just used this as my source of accountability for my friends and family and followers who, they've seen me do the 100-day challenge that I just finished, and they've been with me on my journey for the past 135 pounds that I've lost, and I still have more to go. But we're going to talk about how to continue to stay motivated and not stress over the scale. So first things first is I'm home. I am in America, and I'm so excited because I've been visiting family and friends. I arrived a few days ago, I think about 3 or 4 days ago. For those of you who are just tuning in first time, I am an expat. I live in China, and I teach at the university there, at one of the universities in Dalian, China. And so I'm just really, really happy to be home for the break. And so I have had to be very intentional about what I eat and what I don't eat while I am traveling. I've been reading labels like nobody's business, okay? Because I do my own version of low to no carb. I don't necessarily call it keto. I do get my fats in, and I don't necessarily call it carnivore because my protein level is much higher than my protein level is like super high in order for it to be considered keto. But my fat level is, very, very high, in a good way, and I practice intermittent fasting. And so what I noticed, if you ever flew, if you ever been on a flight that goes from one country to the next, and it's like an extended flight, you know that they serve food. And so I noticed that this time when they would bring food by, and I would get the food because it's food on the plane. And if you're flying from China, first of all, to America, your flight is over 12 hours. Mine was, in fact, just depending on the airline that you go with, my flight was about 13, almost 14 hours. And so when they came around with the food, they were coming around with bread and everything too. And I declined the bread, and I looked and I ate the little meat that they had in the trays, but most of them, because it's coming, the flight is coming from China going to America, they have like a lot of rice and pasta, or, the noodles and everything. And so one thing that I was happy that I did was I did include I carried my liquid stevia with me, so that when I had water, I could turn it into like a little juice or something. I also had my Truvia packets with me, so when I got coffee, I could just mix it together, because depending on the airline, they'll try and give you their own coffee that's pre-mixed and loaded with sugar and their version of cream. And I was just not about to have that. And so I did drink a whole lot of water, and I ate the meat that came with the little, meals or whatever. But the thing, I think one of my saving graces was buying. When I was in the airport, I went on ahead and purchased low carb nuts, and so I was able to snack on those and eat those during mealtime after I had like the little bit of meat, because it's not a lot of meat. It's more, they have more carbs in those little food trays than anything. I mean, they really, you get like a cup and a half of rice, and that's a lot. So, or if it's noodles, you know, you have like a cup and a half of noodles. It's a lot. So I made sure that, that I didn't fail. And then when I finally got to LA, and I had a little layover, and it was super late at night, I was walking to my next gate, and there was like this little restaurant on the side, and I ordered burgers from there. Like they had, because it was late at night, so they were closing down basically. I think they had like maybe 10-15 minutes left to go. And so in their like hot deli section, they had these burgers that were already prepared. It was just the meat patties and cheese. And so I got 2 burgers, threw the buns away, put the burgers on top of each other with the cheese, and ate that, and had my water, and I was perfectly fine. Like it was very, very filling. And I know people were kind of looking at me like, oh my God, what is she doing? But I mean, I'm in a Western country now, so keto is not as foreign as it is in China. You know, whether it's keto, low carb, or whatever, it's not as foreign as it is over in Asia. And so, you know, nobody really bothered me. Nobody was out like taking pictures or photo, and not that I could see. So it was just good for me to be able to enjoy my meal. And I also, I got a Perrier water. And, you know, for me, that carbonated water was like really filling. You know, it kind of gives you that feel of like soda, but without all the sugar and the, you know, future death that comes with it. So I was happy. I was really, really happy. And then fast forward, I get home. My mom and my sister-in-law and my nephew came to pick me up from the Raleigh-Durham airport. And, you know, I told my mom, I said, before we go home, I'm going to need to go to the grocery store so I can get all the stuff that I need. And I was so happy. I was able to go to, I went to Save A Lot and got some meat, and saved a lot, honey. Okay. I went and I got some meat, and I was also able to find some really good, cream and cheese. So, and I was happy to get those things. And then I went also to Food Line and got like a few other, well, like spices and seasonings that I wanted to be able to cook with, all like 0 carb. So I've just been really, really happy about my food choices and being very intentional about what I do while I'm traveling. Now, in about 3 weeks, I will be in Spain, and I already know, like I'm there for a week-long cultural exchange program. I guess you can call it cultural exchange. It's just really, so it's English practice for business professionals. Like there's doctors, there's lawyers, CEOs, you know, accountants, bankers, like all of that, who are there to really practice their English language. And it's amazing because I did it 2 years ago in 2017 when I went backpacking through Europe. That was my final destination. And when I did that, I made so many connections with prominent people. And so I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity to do it again. So I look forward to that in a couple of weeks. But here's the thing. I'm like, I have no idea what to expect as far as the food is concerned. So, you know, I don't know how tailored the meals will be able to be for me. So I'm making sure that I am on my absolute best behavior now, because I don't want to undo the work that I did, you know, over the 100 days in the consistency challenge. And I don't want to like go crazy and everything with eating, and no. So I'm trying to make sure that I focus. And I gave my body a chance to rest. Because changing time zones like that, I mean, right now, currently in China, we're 12 hours ahead of East Coast. And so I've been, you know, when you travel, I have almost mastered jet lag, almost mastered it. So what I do is whenever it's dark, I sleep. Like, I don't care what time zone I'm changing it. If it's dark, I find a way to make myself go to sleep. When it's light, I get up. And I may take a nap throughout the day. Like, I had to do that 2 times this week. I took some extensive naps throughout the day, but my body is back on schedule. It's back on track now for it to be East Coast time. But I did that. I gave myself about a day and a half to get it together before I worked out. And then I hit my workouts. And I started a new regimen thanks to my new workout partner. He put something together for me, and just based on my fat loss goals. So he put it together for me, and it's really tough. It's for me for traveling. It's based on body weight, these mini resistance bands that I have. And also I have a jump rope. So I incorporated air boxing, because for those of you who know me, you follow me on social media, I love boxing. So I have air boxing session on my Saturdays that I do, which does include like jump rope and hooks and jabs and all of that good stuff. So, but I have been primarily just giving my body time to recuperate. It needs to recover, because I'm not trying to be injured. God knows I'm not trying to injure myself, because getting an injury is one of the worst things to do when you are trying to reach your health goals, because it could set you back it could just set you back so much. And so I'm just trying to use a lot of wisdom as it pertains to when I exercise, how hard I go when I exercise, along with my eating. Okay. It's like with those two things, especially when you're in the losing phase, when you're in the fat loss and the weight loss phase, your eating and your exercise is just so important. It's so important to keep hold on that. So that's what I've been focusing on. And when it comes to motivation, so many of my loved ones have been asking me, how do you stay motivated? Like, how do you find this motivation? And for me, I think about where I want to be. Now, this can also be something that kind of, gets you down or discouraged, because when you start thinking about like how far you have to go, you can kind of forget about how far you've come. And I have to remind myself of that. So I have like photos of me before, when I was almost 400 pounds. I have photos of me that I go back and I look at, and I'm like, girl, who you were in this photo only dreamed about who you are today. Just the same way that you are all dreaming about who you're going to be next year, and tightening and toning all of this flabby loose skin because, you've lost 135 pounds and all of that. The person that you are dreaming about becoming, first of all, let's not forget about the person who you were, because she was dreaming about becoming the size and the weight that you are right now. So instead of you, stressing out about how far you have to go, take a moment. Thank God for where you've come from, and celebrate that. Celebrate it in a healthy way. Celebrate it in a way that will allow you to stay motivated and to keep pushing. And I take things one day, one moment at a time. I take my exercises one moment at a time, one day at a time, one regimen at a time, one move at a time, one rep at a time. I take my meals one day at a time. I do practice intermittent fasting. On the weekends, I do from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also, I realized that during the holidays, like maybe summer holidays or whatever, vacation time, if OMAD is too difficult for me, because maybe I have to do something earlier on in the day, or I'm at a social event earlier on in the day, then I can either move my window. I can move my window, my 4-hour window, or I can just choose to do 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. But eating past 8 p.m. is not where it's at for me, and I have been trying my best this week to not do that. Sometimes I've been when I told you I, took some naps this week, but sometimes I would wake up too late and I hadn't eaten anything. And it's like, oh my goodness, I need to get my meal in, and it's almost 8:00. So being flexible with myself, because if you're so just strict on yourself when you're trying to eat healthy, at any moment you could snap a break and just go eat whatever you feel like eating. Especially living in the Western world where everything is so tempting and it's just really, really delicious. It's just like, no, let me stick to the plan, stick to what I'm supposed to do. So encouraging myself is a constant effort. Encouraging myself is a constant effort, because honestly, I cannot rely on other people to motivate me. Do I appreciate the support? Absolutely. Oh my goodness. You all are just so amazing when it comes to the support, excuse me, and I appreciate you very, very much. But at the end of the day, I am the one who has to motivate myself to get moving. I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every single day. And so that's one of the things that I can do to motivate myself, is just celebrate where I've come from and not stress so much over how far I have to go. Another thing that I'm doing this holiday vacation is I am doing no scale summer. So I left my scale purposefully, the one that, measures body fat and all my metrics and things. I left it back home in China, and I've already seen 2 scales since I've been here in the States, but I've been avoiding them because I'm not going to get on the scale at all. I am the type of person who I get addicted to the scale. Okay. I watch numbers. You talking about counting calories? No, honey, I count them pounds. I count the pounds with the kg, the kilograms. Are they going up or are they going down? And I feel like that is a time waster. When all I need to do really is just focus on eating right. Focus on eating the foods that I'm supposed to eat, and focus on getting my movement in, getting that workout done, and drinking my water, and just taking care of myself. And so I'm doing no scale summer, which means that I will not weigh myself until I return to China at the end of August. And, actually, I may wait till September 1st, which I think is a Sunday. So I may wait and weigh myself on September 1st. I did weigh myself before I left, and I'm still at a 135-pound loss. So I'm really excited about that. When I come back, when I go back to China, and I have done everything that I'm supposed to do, I ate right, exercised, drank my water, treated my body right, loved on myself. When I get on the scale, I do expect for my body fat percentage to be much lower. And also, of course, as a result, losing weight. So I look forward to that. I do. I look forward to that. Let's see. One other thing that I wanted to talk about. We just talked about how to maintain your goals, right? How to maintain your goals while you are traveling, motivating yourself. And I also talked about the no scale summer. The last thing that I want to talk about is just being accountable. Let somebody know that you are trying to lose weight, but make sure it's the right person. Please don't tell someone who's going to be negative and be like, well, what you doing that for? I mean, girl, life is short. Man, life is short. You just need to eat what you want to eat, enjoy life. And it's like, okay, life is going to be real short if I don't get my health in check. Of course, life is going to be real short, because I'm going to die very, very much sooner than I would have if I just took care of this temple that God gave me. So, telling people who would support you and genuinely support you and your efforts and your goals, man, that's priceless. That's priceless. So I would definitely say to share your story or your journey with people who will support you and be there for you and not be jealous of you and your goals, but somebody who is like, let's do it together, or somebody who maybe they're already healthy and fit and they're just like, listen, I'm here for you. I'll be your support system for, whatever you need to get done, however you need to do it, let me know. I have found that when you share your story and your transformation with other people, it really, really, really makes the battle that much easier to go through and to win. So hopefully you all enjoyed today's podcast. I really appreciate all the support, the new subscribers, everything. And I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time on Project 35.